You have a front door that locks, a bedroom, a bathroom, a phone with a passcode, and most days you still feel like someone is watching. For 300,000 years, your ancestors had none of those things. No walls, no doors, no private space of any kind. And the secrets they kept were worth dying for. So let's start with what their world actually looked like. For most of prehistory, home was a shared space. Not shared like a dorm room, shared like one room with no walls inside. In 1979, anthropologist Richard Lee at the University of Toronto documented the Kungsan people of the Kalahari. Every night, roughly 20 people slept within arm's reach of each other. No bedroom doors, no private corners, no section of the shelter that was yours alone. Your neighbor's cough woke you. Your child's cry woke everyone. If you were sick, the whole group knew by morning. If you were sad, someone noticed within the hour. Your body was, in the most literal sense, community property, not as cruelty as survival. A sick person who hid their illness could infect the whole group. A person in crisis who hid their pain might make a fatal decision alone. The tribe was, in effect, a living surveillance system. Not to control, to protect. Transparency wasn't a value they chose. It was infrastructure they needed. But here's what almost nobody talks about. Even in a world with no walls, some things were never, ever shared. In 2012, philosopher Kim Sterelny at the Australian National University published something nobody expected. He found that in hunter-gatherer societies, crucial knowledge was passed down deliberately slowly. An apprentice might spend 3 full years learning before the master revealed the most important techniques, not because the teaching was difficult, because the knowledge was the teacher's only power. The healer who knew which bark stopped a fever could trade that for food, for protection, for status. Share it freely, and you become just another person. Keep it, and you become irreplaceable. Anthropologist George Murdoch at Yale analyzed 862 different societies in 1967. Across nearly every culture, certain knowledge was deliberately restricted to specialists. Healing knowledge, navigation knowledge, ritual knowledge. In every case, the specialist who held it had power the others didn't. Medieval Europe's guilds, where craftsmen kept trade secrets for generations, didn't invent this. The guilds just gave it a name. The practice was 300,000 years old. You'd expect the answer to be selfishness, the healer hoarding knowledge to stay indispensable. But that's not quite right. Think about it from the other direction. If the healer shared their knowledge freely with everyone in the tribe, what happens when the tribe splits or scatters or loses its elders in a bad winter? Nobody knows. The knowledge disappears. Forever. One keeper meant one person to protect, one lineage to maintain. The secret wasn't power, it was preservation. Privacy was the first form of data backup humans ever invented. But then something changed. About 10,000 years ago, humans started building walls. And what happened next is not what anyone expected. The walls didn't appear in bedrooms first. They appeared in grain stores, food supplies. The first things decided worth protecting. In 1961, archaeologist James Mellert, excavating Çatalhöyük in Turkey, made a discovery. One of the oldest walled settlements ever found. And the houses had no ground-level doors. You entered through a hole in the roof. Not for air, for security. The first thing humans decided needed protecting wasn't their body, it was their food. But once walls existed and something shifted. For the first time in 300,000 years, a human could be somewhere nobody could see them. For the first time, a human could have a thought that would never be found out. A real secret, one that died with them. So walls gave us psychological freedom. That seems like the obvious conclusion. But here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The first word for private in ancient Greek was idios, the root of the word idiot. To the Greeks, a person who withdrew entirely from public life was someone to be pitied, possibly dangerous. They had a word for it. We made it mean something else entirely. Privacy to them wasn't freedom. It was a warning sign. Today you have more physical privacy than any human who ever lived. A locked room, a locked phone, a browser in incognito mode, and you have less informational privacy than any human who has ever existed. Every search you make, every purchase, every location ping, every mood shift captured by an app that knows you stay up late on Sunday nights. In 2023, researchers at Columbia Law School published a landmark analysis of modern data collection. The average person generates over 1.7 megabytes of personal data every single second. Every single second? Your location, your heart rate, your spending habits, your political views. The Kalahari healer who guarded their knowledge for 30 years shared less personal information in their entire lifetime than you share before lunch. Ancient humans had no walls, no locks, no private rooms, but their thoughts were their own. Their knowledge was sovereign. Their most important secrets went with them to the grave, and that was the design. We built walls, we built locks, we invented encryption, and then we signed it all away. In a terms of service agreement nobody read. For 300,000 years, a secret was the most valuable thing a human could own. Now it's called a data point,